Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Russlandsfarerne. We will be continuing exploring the different nationalities of Russia. This time we're going to talk about the Udmurt language. Today's guest is a teacher of the Udmurt language. Welcome Olga Urasinova.
Hi, Dzień Buresh.
And what does that mean?
It means hi or like good afternoon, like
Okay.
greetings. Yeah.
Okay. Dzień Buresh.
Dzień Buresh.
Dzień Buresh. Okay. Okay, but for those who doesn't know anything about the Udmurt and their language, tell us a little about who they are and their language.
So my native language, Udmurt language, is a Finno-Ugric language, like Finnish or Hungarian or Estonian or other Finno-Ugric languages like Mari or Komi or Hanti or Mansi. And about 500,000 people speak this language, Udmurt language, and the most Udmurt lives in Udmurt Republic, is close to, I don't know which part of Russia do you know, but Ural mountains, maybe it's famous. So close to Ural mountains, and it's like a original place of Finno-Ugric people. Yeah, for Finno-Ugric people. And according census dates, there are 500,000 Udmurts, but only 324,000 people speak the language, the Udmurt. Yeah.
Yeah. And you yourself are an Udmurt, and Udmurt is your native language, as you already said.
Yeah. It's my native language, and I was born in a small village, and all my family, within my family, we speak only Udmurt language, and I started speaking Russian in the kindergarten. Yeah. So before I even didn't speak. I even didn't use it. Russian. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but after that you became a teacher of Udmurt, and what drove you to become a teacher?
Actually, my grandmother is a teacher, or was a teacher of Udmurt language at school, and she used to tell me that you have to be, or you should be, a teacher of Udmurt language. And I used to tell her that, oh no, but finally I became a teacher of Udmurt and Hungarian languages. And actually it's to be a teacher now of Udmurt language is like a hobby. Because I work with Hungarian language, so my job is connected with Hungarian language. Yeah, but more than 10 years I teach Udmurt here in Moscow.
Yeah, but who are learning Udmurt? It's not only Udmurt, it's also Russians as well.
Yeah. I guess at the beginning, 10 years ago, in 2008-9, the large part of my students were linguists, the people who were interested in language as a language. But now the majority, the most of my students are people who have some Udmurt roots. And so the Udmurt language for them is interesting, like a medium, like a tool to be closer to their family and their history, their heritage of his family or her family. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. But do you experience that any foreigners, non-Russians, want to learn Udmurt? Do you have any non-Russian students?
Yes, I know some people who are Hungarians or Finnish, or I know some Polish people who learned or are learning language, Udmurt language, I mean, and I also have an experience to teach Hungarians and Finnish to Udmurt. And now, for example, I have a student from the United States, and he wanted to learn the Udmurt language because it's so close to the nature, and yeah, he's interested in Finnish language as well, and so he decided to learn Udmurt as well, but it's quite difficult for people who don't know Russian language, because our language, Udmurt, is based on the Cyrillic alphabet, and that's why it's you have to learn the Russian alphabet before you start learning Udmurt.
Yeah, and basically Russian too, basically.
Yeah. There are a lot of loan words as well in our language, and also there are no direct dictionary Udmurt English, so you have to translate it using Russian language. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's the situation of every minority language in
Russia.
Yeah, you don't get away from Russian.
Yeah. Exactly.
But but it seems to me that a lot of Finnish people and Hungarians wants to learn these minority languages like Udmurt. Is it because there is because of their heritage? That's why they want to learn it, like the Finnish people, for instance?
I suppose the most of them, they are linguists, and there are some points in Finland and in Hungary at the universities where it's possible to learn our language, and maybe for them it's also interesting to learn Udmurt and go to Udmurtia to enjoy this village life. So maybe it's language and culture together. So maybe this factor is why they study Udmurt language.
Yeah. And it's pretty easy for other Uralic speakers like Hungarians, Finns, Estonians to learn Udmurt, right? But what about because of the structure of the language? But for a Norwegian like me or an American, what is the most difficult and the most easiest about the Udmurt language?
I don't know what is the easiest, but I can say what is the more difficult. When you start learning Udmurt or other Finno-Ugric languages, when you are in the European speaker, for example, you have to change your mind. You have to switch your logic, because in our languages there are a lot of cases, and when you heard that in Udmurt there are 15 cases, you became like crazy. Wow, 15 cases! What I should do with them? Or also it's difficult for people to use postpositions because in Indo-European languages there are prepositions like on the table, but in our languages we use the table on. So the other order of words.
Yeah.
And also it's difficult for Indo-European people to use possessive suffixes. You know, when you're saying in the European languages, for example, my house, but in Udmurt, my is like a suffix, not like, but suffix. It's suffix, and we put it after the word, the main word house. So you have to switch your logic. Yeah, and also it's interesting. I don't know how it is in Finnish, but in Hungarian the same. Like in Udmurt, we have paired body parts, like you know, hands, eyes, ears, or our foots. And in Udmurt and Hungarian, we usually say that half of our hand, so not one hand, but half of hand. So these paired body parts, we identify, or we so yeah, like identify like one part.
Yeah, like two hands is one hand, basically.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, actually, yeah, exactly.
And this is a half hand.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And that's also in Finnish as well, or in Hungarian?
In Hungarian, in Finnish, I didn't know it. Yeah. I studied Finnish a few months. I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
That's interesting. Yes, and tell us a little about the situation with the Udmurt language right now. Like, how many speakers are there, for instance?
As I have mentioned, there are 500,000 Udmurts according to the last census date. Yeah, last census. How do you say it in English? Census. And comparing with the previous census, we lost about 100 people every 10 years. So it's dramatic, catastrophic loss. So, and 324,000 people speak their native language, and most of Udmurt, as I have mentioned, live in Udmurt Republic, where the language, the Udmurt language is the second official language besides Russian, but it works only in theory, not in practice. And also, we don't have the strong institutional support of Udmurt language. So there are no there are 1 or 2 kindergartens, I guess 2 kindergartens in Izhevsk, where the language of communication, so-called language of communication, is Udmurt, but in practice they are not. And usually I have some friends who speak to their children Udmurt language and live in Izhevsk, and their children go to the kindergarten and start speaking Russian only Russian. So, and they go back to home and say to their parents that please don't speak more Udmurt language. So, unfortunately, there are some people who try to, like, with what verb I can use here. So, like preserve language and give to other generations the language, but there are no institutional support, and also a lot of parents are afraid to speak Udmurt besides Russian because they think that it can be not dangerous, but it can cause some problems for children in the future. So, like, it's not like it's not possible to speak two languages or to learn automatically two languages. Some opinion here in Russia is widespread opinion that bilingualism is a bad thing. It's not possible. It's not good thing. So.
Do you so not enough is being done to preserve the Udmurt language?
Yeah, in my point of view, but it's my point of view that it isn't enough. Yeah, of course there are some music in Udmurt language. There are some activities in Udmurt language. People who try to create some videos in Udmurt languages, some content in Udmurt languages, but it isn't enough. And I don't agree with the local government policy that they used to tell, or they usually tell that the Udmurt language should be like a passion. I don't know how to explain it. So we couldn't force. We couldn't force to learn it, or we couldn't force to. So we couldn't force to like perceive it.
Yeah.
We have to like provide opportunities to master this language. I mean, like to create some interesting content, and people want to learn Udmurt when there are some interesting content. But it's quite strange for me because we couldn't compare with we couldn't we couldn't win the competition with English language, with English content. You know, there are a lot of English content, interesting English content, and our content couldn't be on the same level like in English. So it's a strange position to do our language fashionable, like trendy.
Yeah, like I've seen Udmurt version of Despacito. You've seen that one?
Yeah, I have seen. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too conservative.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm a fan of beautiful Udmurt language with Russian loan words, without Russian loan words, without Russian structure. And when I see now, especially now in social networks, a lot of cases when the Udmurt language are like crushed, like use the wrong constructions, I became very like depressed. It's I see how we lose our language. So and it's really a sensitive thing for me. That so the generation who are 20s, so only 10 years younger than me, then use less structure, less Udmurt vocabulary, and more Russian structure, and it's hard.
So they speak like Udmurt, but with a Russian structure.
Yeah.
And that's what they're like in that song Despacito, for instance. That's what they have done now.
I don't remember the structure of sentences, but I suppose yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Yes, because they learn it as a secondary language and not natively, or.
Maybe they don't care about it. Maybe it's not important for them to use the clean Udmurt language, and also, everywhere is Russian language, and everybody me too, of course. We are influenced by Russian language, and when you don't use Udmurt language daily, maybe it's affected by Russian language. It's influenced by Russian and the structure as well.
Yeah.
And also, the mass media, like, I mean, the newspapers in Udmurt language, and also the news portals, the official news portals in Udmurt language, they use the wrong structure of Udmurt language. So the journalists also use the wrong structure.
Yes, but some years ago, the Udmurt Buranovsky Babushki got like some international attention for their performance at the Eurovision Song Contest, and they sung in Udmurt. Actually, a lot of people don't know that or think it's Russian or anything other than Udmurt, because simply that they don't know about the language. But did their performance in some way, shape, or form help to boost Udmurt language or culture?
As I have experienced, a lot of Russians, for example, even don't identify or even don't know that they are Udmurts. So they are still think that, oh, they are babushki, they are grandmother from some Russian village, and that's all.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong, and some of people, thanks to Buranovsky babushki, started interesting in Udmurt language and culture, and started learning our language. It can be, but maybe it was close to the Eurovision, but now I even don't hear any news about babushki in the mass media, for example.
Yeah. Have you ever met them in person?
Only the, how should I say, the leader of the group, the leader of the ensemble, Olga, I met, yeah.
And then you spoke Udmurt together?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. And how is the future of the Udmurt language, in your opinion?
Difficult and sensitive question for me. And I want to tell my story, my private story, and the story of my family. And you can decide. And it's not only the story of my family, it's a widespread story of a lot of families, Udmurt families. So within my family, my grandmother and everybody from these generations who were born in 20s, in 30s, everybody speak Udmurt language and preferred this language. The mother of my grandmother even didn't speak Russian. Only some few. She knew only few words in Russian. So my grandmother generations, everybody speak Udmurt and prefer Udmurt. The generation of my parents, only those who were born in the villages, they speak Udmurt. My uncles who were born in cities, they don't. And the generation of me, so we were born in 19th and 80s. So only me and my brother speak the Udmurt language among 15 cousins. Yeah.
Mm.
And my brother doesn't speak Udmurt with his children.
Mm.
So, and it's really typical situation that like we are last generation, or maybe some of people from our generations try to speak to children's language, but only few, so not everybody. So and also I have a lot of people, a lot of Udmurt. I know a lot of Udmurts who experience that in the village where they were born, they spoke only Udmurt among friends, and some Russian people who came there for summer, they started speaking Udmurt as well. But now the situation changed, and also in this in Udmurt villages, children speak only Russian with each other. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So I suppose we need some very strong institutional support of our language, and to help the parents to be strong in preserving the language, maybe more opportunities, kindergartens, and I'm also I also think about positive discrimination. So maybe we have to have some perks, some benefits for people who speak Udmurt language, especially most of them are from village, and the education is lower. The education level is lower in the villages. So
yeah. But yeah, I think that is everything, and thank you very much for being on this podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And if somebody wants to learn Udmurt, I can recommend that they check out your YouTube channel, where you have lectures about the Udmurt language and where you can learn the language. And the links to these lectures are in the description below. And how do you say goodbye in Udmurt?
Jechlu.
Jechlu. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jechlu. No?
Jechlu.
Jechlu.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.